It's the WP Minute. This episode is brought to you by the WP Minute. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Matt Report. Support the show. Join the membership for $79 a year to get involved with the news like the rest of our Link Squad members, 50 plus strong now. Buymeacoffee.com/Matt Report. Today's episode is some breaking news. Sitecare is acquiring OG WordPress support business, just like them, Maintainn from WebDevStudios. You're going to hear from founders Ryan Sullivan and Brad Williams. Let's get right into the interview.
We are excited because Maintainn's been a big part of WebDevStudios since we acquired it back in, I want to say it was like 2012. So I think it's been 10 years. And back, it was a great add-on business for us as the support and maintenance side of the house. We do on the WebDev side is more project focused, build the sites, launch them, but then of course you want to continue to support your clients and help them out, right? And that's really where Maintainn fit in well with our services. As we've grown and our clientele have grown and definitely more of a focus on the enterprise and big business, we've simply kind of grown a way where that side of the house wasn't really in line with the web dev side of the house in terms of the kind of clients we were working with. So it's been a bit of a struggle in terms of how best to support those clients because, of course, we want to take care of our clients and they're a big reason why we're here. And that's why Lisa, my partner, and myself kind of took a step back and said, maybe this doesn't make sense for web dev, where we're at, where we're continuing to go. And I think the writing was kind of on the wall. And when we had that kind of open conversation, it made a lot of sense to start putting some feelers out if anyone might be interested. And of course, Sitecare was at the top of that list because this is what they do.
Ryan, backfilling your strategy or your Sitecare strategy, years ago when you were on Matt Report many times and WordPress services was just a single pricing page with $79 a month, $199 a month, and $499 a month back in the day when it was just bucketed into like 3 pricing columns. Sitecare looks like a totally different company in terms of the services offering now. I mean, all one has to do is hover over the services tab of the main menu and see a whole bunch more, anywhere from WordPress services to email marketing to site coaching. How has this landscape changed? I mean, obviously we know why Maintainn is a great fit to acquire, but how has this landscape changed for what was just done for you WordPress maintenance back in the day to now this broadened service offering?
Yeah, I mean, kind of to one thing I wanted to touch on that Brad mentioned was he was talking about how, WebDev had acquired Maintainn 2012, 2013-ish. When I started WP Sitecare, I think WP Sitecare and Maintainn were kind of the two original players in the space. So just from our standpoint, it feels a little bit like a coming home. Like this acquisition feels good from that perspective of like, yes, we've been doing this for a very long time. We feel like we've got a pretty good handle on how to run this type of business and support clients this way. And so we're very excited about kind of what this means for not just for making sure that WebDev's clients continue to get Maintainn's clients continue to get well taken care of, but also to make sure that to kind of plant a larger flag in the world that we've been in for a long time. But yeah, to your point, Matt, in terms of services and how those have evolved and changed, one of the big reasons services have evolved for us so much is we had a merger between WP Sitecare and Southern Web in 2018 now. I guess it's been a little bit over 4 years. Right about 4 years. So Drew Barton, we made a deal to combine our companies at that time. They were a more traditional agency. So they were doing a lot of web design. They were doing a lot of digital marketing and things that way. And we were very focused on the support maintenance side of things. And as we brought the clients together, we started to see this thing where our clients were asking us for more. They were asking us for, you have the most familiarity with our website. You have your hands working on these things more than anybody else. The question always starts with, do you know anybody who does SEO? Do you know anybody who does blank? And we had a lot of experience with that on the Southern Web side. And so a lot of the clients who were traditionally support maintenance clients naturally evolved into wanting more of these services, and we already had some history providing them. So we could kind of become more of we don't design new websites. We don't design or develop new websites, but as far as recurring services go that take care of a website and make sure that it's not just running well, but growing and thriving, we kind of run the gamut at this point.
And you're bringing in two brands, like the Sitecare won. This is a harsh way to put it, but Sitecare won the branding game of Sitecare versus Southern Web, because largely this is just my assumption, is that people are coming in looking for WordPress forward services, looking for that WordPress maintenance, and kind of everybody knew you and Sitecare in the team. So that brand wins, ? Is that a fair way to state it?
I think it's partially that. We've definitely doubled down on it, right? Like, we registered the trademark and everything. Like, it's definitely where we've chosen to plant our flag. I don't know. I think just from a kind of marketing perspective, it's a little bit simpler to understand from on the face. And so probably from that perspective, people resonate with it a little bit more.
And then you're bringing in, like you said, the two OGs of WordPress maintenance. I've seen, and I'm sure you guys have seen it more than me, but I've seen a dozen companies come and go that tried this thing that they thought was easy, and it was just like I said before, throw a price on a page, have somebody sign up for a month, and this is going to be the easiest thing ever. And now you're bringing these two OGs together. You already answered one of my other questions. You sort of stop at that new website project, let's say, or custom app or something like that. Does Sitecare and your team just sort of collaborate with other agencies, like going back to WebDev and be like, hey, this customer wants to launch a new project. This is a perfect fit for you and your team. Is that how things will pan out in the future?
That's exactly how it works. And we have some great relationships and partnerships with other agencies who specialize in the larger projects, right? Like, we kind of cap out, not formally, but typically speaking, we are not doing much project work that exceeds about a 2-week sprint. So anything that gets bigger than that, especially if we have this formalized with some agencies where they say, hey, we want you to handle the ongoing maintenance because we trust you with that piece. But when this client says, hey, I want to redesign, or I want to rebrand, or I want to whatever, we need that. We want first right of refusal on that project, and that's how we handle it, right? We always go back to that agency and say, hey, they're looking for something bigger than what we do here. Let's restart the conversation with agency A over there. And we see ourselves doing that with WebDev going forward too, is like, which also is another place where this kind of makes a lot of sense. But that's how it usually plays out, is once something kind of gets beyond that about 2-week threshold, we start working with agencies.
I think why it works so well especially for our current clients moving over, as well as anyone that were to sign up with Sitecare, is the team is completely structured for support, maintenance, and that type of work, right? Which is, anyone that's in this space or has ever done support, that is a very different structure than a traditional kind of project team. And it has to work differently, right? Like, it's a little more reactionary. It's a little more priority focused. You have to have a team that's able to bounce around a little bit more versus going heads down on one project for a week or two or a month or two. And so that's where the benefit of that. It's almost like comparing like traditional hosting to like managed hosting, where managed hosting is completely set up to optimize WordPress, specifically for WordPress, where Sitecare is completely set up to optimize support and maintenance piece that every website really needs. So for that perspective, or anyone that's really getting that help from Sitecare, they're really going to benefit from it, just because that's how they're structured. That's how they work.
And that's like, obviously, answering the next question there is, I'm sure this wasn't an easy decision to make. The income is still income. Diversifying is good and all that stuff, but you're growing a team that is getting much more specialized, probably taking on larger, more technical projects. And now this side of the brain it's just too much, right? It's just, how are you going to market and manage this aspect, and then also go after whatever enterprise and big agency work,
exactly,
that you focus on.
And that's exactly why we kept the brand separate after the acquisition, was because of that struggle of the message, the marketing message, to say, hey, we can support blogs, SMB, all the way up to enterprise and Microsoft, is a hard message to get across, right? So whereas Maintainn could be more laser focused on the support, the maintenance, and really targeting that, WebDev could be more focused on targeting the enterprise, the larger projects, the larger relationships with clients and partnerships. So that was always a conscious decision. Even though we considered rolling it under WebDev as like a WebDev support service, we knew that the marketing of that would be almost impossible for us to nail. So in that aspect, it's actually made this a little bit cleaner, because this is an asset acquisition. So the site and the services and the clients, all of our employees are staying at WebDev. But yeah, it really just came from the separation of where WebDev was kind of growing more towards the enterprise, and Maintainn was primarily supporting more of that SMB to mid-tier. And the two sides of the house were just getting further away from each other. And it was making it more difficult to kind of manage that in the way they need to be managed, and giving the clients at Maintainn the level of service that they expect and that we want to provide. So it is hard shutting off a revenue stream, and that it's not an easy thing to do when it's recurring revenue and it's a little more predictable. But if you're not able to really provide the services long-term that you're signing people up for, ultimately it's going to end badly anyway. So it was, while we're still very capable of supporting those clients, we knew over time that was just going to get harder and harder for us without reinvesting back into really exploding and growing out that team. So I think it was the right call, the right decision, and just to get us to refocus. I think that's one thing that the pandemic and a lot of the last couple of years have taught us is really get laser focused on what you do best and go all in. And that's really what we are doing. So we're excited because, yeah, it's juggling essentially two businesses, if you will. Takes a lot. So it gets us refocused, not just myself, but from the admin perspective, the marketing perspective, and certainly the developers and support engineers perspective. And once the transition's completed, we'll be laser focused back on the web dev side of the house. So it's exciting. It's exciting for us because it's a new chapter for us. It's a new chapter for Sitecare. It's a new chapter for the clients that we're on with Maintainn. But I really truly look at this as a win-win-win for everybody involved.
You answered my next question, which was, were the employees going or staying? They're staying at WebDev, continue to work with you. How long did this take? Like when you and Lisa both decided to do it, from that idea, when that moment hit, to did you knock on Ryan's door and say, hey man, you want it?
That's exactly what I did. Yep.
Well, when was the first time we talked about it though, Brad? I mean, the first time we talked about it,
it was a while. I think
ago.
A couple of years. It's been an on and off conversation with Sitecare, right. I think, for a number of years. Because I remember having a discussion. I want to say it was right before the pandemic, like February 2020 or something. And then, of course, the world changed the next month, and all that stuff kind of got pushed to the side. Just trying to be like, okay, we need to survive as a company. We need to help our team, obviously, with everything going on in the personal side. So, and I think there was even a conversation a few years prior to that. So it's kind of been off and on. But when Lisa and I really kind of in earnest said this is the right call, it moved pretty quickly, honestly. And I think both sides, sitting down with Drew and with Ryan, were like, we don't want to overcomplicate this. We don't want to have a 50 lawyer team like putting together a dossier of a legal agreement that none of us understand. Like we just, obviously there needs to be an agreement. We can keep it very simple. And it moved pretty quickly because both sides really were on the same page with that and wanted to make it work, and came to an agreement pretty quickly, and within a week or two, we had this agreement finalized and signed off on. So once we made that decision, it actually did move pretty quickly. And Sitecare was the first and the only company we talked to, and because we knew that would really be the best fit for our clients.
From the customer's perspective, Ryan, when they come over to Sitecare, obviously, whatever, logins, dashboards, email support is going to be different. Does pricing carry over for a certain amount of time, grandfathered in? How does that roll out, or is it even too early to tell?
No, we're gonna keep pricing the same for at least a year, and gonna honor that for the clients. We don't want to, just like you said, there's a lot of different things that happen in a transition like this that can be jarring for a client, and we minimize as many of those things as possible. So we're actually lucky on the operational side as well. We use a lot of the same tools to get the work done, so we can make a lot of the administrative transfer kind of behind the scenes without really messing up clients or having them to go dig for the password that they don't actually know and all that kind of stuff. We're able to do a lot of that pretty seamlessly, but we definitely didn't want to. I mean, we have to, from our side, we're looking at this from, we need to regain or earn trust. That's a huge component of this type of business, is gaining and earning trust with clients. And so we're a stranger. We know that we need to come in and earn their trust as quickly as possible. So we wanted to change as few things as possible while the transition is going on. And yeah, pricing is one of those things we're just going to leave as is for a while.
Gentlemen, I'll leave you with an ask. If there's anything you want folks to do to connect with you, if you're looking to hire people, if you're looking to acquire another services agency, I'll leave you both with an ask. Ryan, you first. If there's anything you want people to do, say, visit, click, let them know.
Well, all the employees are staying at WebDev, so we're hiring. we're actually, we have been for quite some time, even before this acquisition, but we have quite a few open roles on our website. If you go to sitecare.com/careers, would love to see some applications there. And then I don't know that I'd recommend this, but if you want to connect with me on Twitter, it's at Ryan Don Sullivan, and kind of a goofball over there, but that's where I also post any of my work stuff.
And Brad.
Yeah, no big LoopConf announcement or something, Ryan? I thought maybe...
You thought I'd just tack that onto the end?
Yeah, just dump it out there at the end. Yeah, I mean, on the web dev side, we do have a few open positions as well. If you go to our website, WebDevStudios.com, check those out. If you're looking to work on with an agency and work on larger projects with some pretty well-known clients and just doing real big WordPress stuff, doing some really interesting things with WordPress at scale, come check it out. Doing all that headless stuff too. So if you're into the headless space, Next.js, all that good stuff, we're doing quite a bit of that. So yeah, and on Twitter, I'm usually pretty active. Williams B. And of course, Matt and I have a little podcast we do together called The Random Show, randomshow.net. I think we need to get a new episode out because it's been a while.
It's been a while.
But that's why it's random.
That's why it's random.
You just don't know.
Gentlemen, congratulations to both teams. I'm sure that this will be one of the acquisitions that shouldn't cause too much WP drama. I think passing customers from one side to another well-respected and well-known company is a good thing for all, like you said. Hey, you know what's good for all? BuyMeACoffee.com/MattReport. It's a great way to support the show. Become a Link Squad member. $79 a year. BuyMeACoffee.com/Matt Report. That's it for today's episode. You can join the newsletter at thewpminute.com/subscribe.